You are going to love today's speaker because Misti Burmeister is one of the most down-to-earth people you will ever meet. She's a best-selling author, she's an entrepreneur, she's an innovator, and she's a TEDx speaker as well. Her work has been featured on National Public Radio, in Smart CEO magazine, and the Huffington Post, just to name a few. Today, she's going to share a proven process for giving and receiving candid, compassionate feedback that's guaranteed to provoke greatness. You know, there are speakers who, that's their job. You know, that's what they do. They're professional speakers. And then there are those who are professional, passionate speakers. And there are speakers who kind of live what they preach. And Misti Burmeister is truly one of those people. She speaks from her heart, from her soul. She will give you everything she has. So it is an honor and a pleasure to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Misti Burmeister.
If you're anything like me, it is so much easier to think there must be something wrong with them than to think there's something we're doing that's causing the undesirable result that we're seeing. We do not have to put the greatness in anyone. The greatness is already there. All we have to do is see it, point to it, and provoke it. Sour feedback, it can be tricky. It requires trust on both sides. Now, as leaders, you are uniquely positioned to both give and receive candid, compassionate feedback. So our challenge today is to begin incorporating a process to ensure that feedback comes across in the manner in which we intend it. Before we do, there is just one prerequisite. You must be willing to be vulnerable. No matter how good your intentions, your feedback will be perceived as destructive if there is no trust. And the fastest way to develop trust is by demonstrating humility before giving feedback. What results do you care so much about that you'd be willing to have the kind of difficult conversations necessary to provoke potential? Just as top athletes seek out coaches who get right to the heart of what needs to improve, most people crave corrective feedback. They want to get better, they want to improve, but they struggle with balancing the potential impact on their self-esteem against growing from feedback. Leaders get this part wrong when they haven't clarified their motives or when they don't care about their people. In fact, this leads to one of the biggest time and energy suckers of all, manipulation. As leaders, you will often see potential in others before they see it in themselves. Now, it's not your job to put the greatness in others. Remember, all you need to do is see it, point to it, and provoke it. One question you're going to want to ask yourself before giving sour feedback is this: am I willing to risk my time and my energy, possibly even destroy a relationship, in order to provoke potential? Failing to follow up is sort of like paying for your groceries and then leaving them at the store. By following up, checking in to see how they're doing, you get even better results. We all want to activate our potential. It's just that it's nearly impossible to see by ourselves what we're doing that's working and what's not working. This is where you come into the picture, by serving as a mirror to their potential. When we allow ourselves to become complacent, rigid, we miss out on opportunities for growth. To avoid stagnation, consider intentionally disrupting your status quo. You can do this by training yourself in receiving candid, compassionate feedback. When you care about your results and they aren't quite matching your expectations, it's easy to get irritated, frustrated, even angry. As a result, it's difficult to keep our walls down long enough to let the feedback come in. It seems easier to avoid the discomfort of the feedback. For this very reason, most people keep their walls up and stunt their growth because they haven't yet learned this process for receiving feedback. The secret to sustainable growth inside yourself, your company, your team, is to consistently look at the feedback that your employees, colleagues, customers are giving you. What are they showing you about you? By keeping the feedback flowing in both directions, while also maintaining focus on your common purpose, you cultivate the ground for growth. When you use my proven process for giving and receiving candid, compassionate feedback, you and your team will be able to do more, better, faster, and you'll be free to pursue your personal and professional passions, increase your impact, and evolve as a leader. Thank you so much for having me here with you guys today. What a joy it was to be with you. Thank you. Thank you.